Hello and welcome back to Marineford TCG. Drink of the day is a celebratory Tenzing Lime and Mint. And today we finally got the ban list that we've been waiting for so long. As expected, Blue Purple Luffy's been hit, but he's not been hit in the way that I think anyone predicted. They've not banned a single card in the deck. However, they have done like a complex ban, which is something new for the One Piece card game as far as I'm aware. So basically, if you're running the Blue Purple Luffy leader, you cannot play 8-cost Katakuri, and you cannot play 9-cost Linlin. I didn't see both of these happening. I think Blue Purple Luffy without both of these defensive tools is going to be a lot flimsier than he was before, but he's still got unfettered access to Gum Gum Giant. I'm quite surprised that Gum Gum Giant didn't get hit at all, honestly. I still do think that card is a problem. Our band clearly disagrees, and they think that the problem with Blue Purple Luffy was just the longevity, which, at the end of the day, that was the problem. It was the Gum Gum Giant in combination with 9-cost Linlin and 8-cost Kata to just go and go and go and go and go and never die. So, interesting to see how this pans out without these two. I think for the West, without access to these two, I'm going to assume, because the date that this goes into force is August 30th in Japan. Often these have come in at the exact same time in the West. So I'm going to assume that we're getting this on the same date when I'm talking about these cards in the West. If the bans come later, well, it's all irrelevant, right? Because we know what the format looks like. We've seen Japan. So for the East, they have the Promo Roger. And from my very early testing, the Promo Roger kind of felt better than Katakuri anyway. I'm not going to lie. Going to 8K base, it's kind of nuts. Who knew? So I don't think Blue Purple Luffy is going to be struggling that much in the East. In the West, though, we don't have the Promo Roger. We're not. Who knows when we'll get it, because you know what promo distribution is like over here. So I think we'll see this guy fall off a lot. He's still going to be playable. He's still got Sanji into like Rush Luffy. You can do Sanji into the set 1 Mihawk for a bit of removal. But you can't do the stupid combo of healing, removal, and Sanji Linlin. It is just kind of crazy. And the removal of the 8-cost Kata is going to make specifically your 8 Don turn kind of bad now. Previously, when you were on 8, you just like dump the Kata, you ramp to 9, it's fine. You got the big blocker. And then from the subsequent turns, when you play your Don -1 big guys, you can still Giant and ramp back to 10. We can't do that anymore. So if you're going to be playing Sanji into 9-cost Luffy, you can't Giant and use leader effect on the next turn. So it's going to make choosing when you play out those big purple cards much more difficult. And I think this is a good route for them to take. Let's see if we can decipher what they've said. I can't find a version of this page in English just yet. But it seems like they're saying by using the Kata and the Linlin, you can fill in the weaknesses in the mid game by having just such a ridiculous defense in the late game. So that's why they've chosen to limit them in combination with the leader. This is also pretty cool because it lets any other leaders, like worse leaders that want to use 8-cost Kata, like Purple Kata, Purple Pudding, and the same for Linlin. Linlin saw play in like some decks. They can still use these. But UP Luffy isn't just running the show, being like the unbeatable end game that nobody can compete with, which is pretty cool. What do we think are going to be the repercussions of this? Well, any deck that had a bad UP Luffy matchup gets better. That will include Green Zoro, which is interesting. Because UP Luffy was, I believe from what I've seen, was one of Green Zoro's worst matchups. So that's pretty cool. Enel also had an atrocious UP matchup. Maybe we'll see Enel come back. I know he also struggles with GP somewhat. And I've not actually played the PB matchup into Enel, but I imagine we will see more Enel at the very least. He's pretty good into Rayleigh from my early OP12 testing. Red Black Kobe, I'm really hyped to try some more Red Black Kobe. From my experience, that leader sucked into UP Luffy. So if UP Luffy is a little less prevalent, or can't go forever, I mean, that's pretty good for Kobe. And also, Shanks, my boy Shanks. So this was easily one of Shanks' worst matchups, this and Buggy. Buggy's kind of been run out of OP12 anyway by Green Zoro. So if there's no UP Luffy, there's no Buggy, and Shank Saturday? Do we bring back Shank Saturday? What a time to be alive. Didn't think we'd be saying that. Yeah, I think this is going to be really good for the game. This will definitely increase the diversity of decks that you can play to a tournament and realistically expect to do well, especially with reference to what the Japanese OB12 format looked like, sort of without Bello Betty as a valid option. Now let's get on to the more interesting cards. Nami's been banned. I think after we saw that Otama, a lot of people really expected that. And honestly, I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory that I've seen other people parroting as well. That this is why the ban list was delayed. Because there's obviously different teams within Bandai. The testing team is going to be different from the design team. And I imagine the testing team for set 13 were going to be very focused on the new cards, very focused on the SRs, the things like Emu, obviously, Roger, making sure those Emu and Roger cards were well balanced. And that's clearly why Emu has 4 life. They would have tried it at 5 life. It's a mono black leader. And decided, okay, this is too good. Let's give it 4 life and we'll try again. And clearly they thought it was balanced at that point. I'm not sure if I agree, but that's besides the point. I think they just missed Otama. Otama is just like a random uncommon in the set. I can easily see that slipping by the eyes of the design team. Like one guy's read it and not connected the dots to Nami. And then when they revealed it and everyone started going, ayo, what was this? What's this? That's why I think this ban list has come out today and not at the end of the last big tournament. Because the ban list always comes out at the end of the tournament. So I think Nami getting added may well be the reason it's been delayed. Conspiracy theory anyway, but regardless, from the gameplay I've seen from the Japanese channels like York's channel, Nami looks incredibly broken with that Otama. So I think this is probably for the best. And there is also a promo Nami that's been confirmed, which is this, and it says, according to the rules, you may only play cards with the East Blue type in your deck. Also, when your deck has 0 cards, you win the game instead of losing. Donix 1, when your leaders attack with deal damage, you can trash the top card of your deck. So it's exactly the same as the old Nami, but you're locked to only playing East Blue cards. And this is honestly brilliant for design, and this has block 4. So the people that really like Nami will still have a way to play the mill leader. But the design team can actually design interesting blue cards that draw cards without just worrying about them breaking Nami. Nami's been a massive design sort of stopgate for ages, in my opinion. Similarly to how Moria was for black cards. You just can't design blue cards that say draw cards and trash cards, or even just draw cards. They had to be really technical with it, like with the Kuzan lead. I mean, look at that. He's really cool. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but it's such a weird way of letting you draw cards, right? Because they couldn't give that to Nami, and now with Nami locked to East Blue, they can actually print balanced support for Nami in the East Blue archetype without being scared of every single blue card making this deck unbeatable. It will be a bit of a shame for those people that really like Nami, but with that Otama, I really do think this was necessary for the health of the game. I'm not a Nami hater. I'm not a Nami hater by any means. There's a lot of people that really hate this leader. I'm not a fan, but I like seeing the decks like this be pretty good. But you never want a deck like this or Blackbeard to just be like tier 1, tier S, BDIF, whatever. You just don't want that because they're not fun to play against. As much fun as you may have playing Nami, playing against Nami is quite dull, especially if you're having to do it sort of 4 or 5 times in a major tournament. That would not be great for the game. But regardless, they've banned Nami, so it's all irrelevant. She's gone. Rest in peace. They've also unbanned 2 cards. We'll talk about this one first. Cabbagey. Well, they've banned Nami. May as well unban Cabbagey. And is this guy East Blue? I don't think this guy is East Blue, sadly. So you won't be able... Is he East Blue? Let me pull that up quick. No, he is not East Blue. He's just Buggy Pirates. So when we get the new Nami, you can't actually play this, that's a bit of a shame. Shame he's not East Blue, but here we are. Anyway, that's very inconsequential in the grand scheme of things because they've unbanned my boy, Sakazuki. If you weren't around for when this guy was just ruling the roost, he was tier 0. What was it? It was like the Worlds tournament where it was like 80% Sakazuki or something stupid. And I believe was it the top cut was 100% Sakazuki? I don't know. It was a ridiculous meta back then. He's never going to be anywhere near as broken as he was back then now, obviously. The game has moved a long way. And in OP13, with Emu just having all of their cards be unremovable, I actually don't think this guy's going to do very much in Japan. He might actually work to buff Emu by beating the decks that can beat Emu. We'll have to see. But even with the amount of cards that increase their own cost, like the Koala cards, they're playing an 8 cost on 4. That's relatively hard for even Saka to clear. Even if you go second, you've got a Kuzan on the board. That does -4, and then Leader does -1. that's still a 3 cost. You can't just like Hound Blaze that. You've got to do 2 more cards. So it's honestly, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near as good as he was before, but I'm really excited to try him out, and he's going to limit certain decks. Like Rayleigh, good luck. All your guys cost 3. Good luck. Murakumo, Hound Blaze, Murakumo. Man, this guy was fun as shit. I'm actually interested. Let's have a look. What's the price of Sakazuki leaders? Let's have a look at Sakazuki. Where is he? Set 5. Oh, my boy. £80. This ain't gonna stick. This is not gonna stick. Let's take the UK filter off. Take a look in Europe. Okay, dude. £53 for the cheapest one. Man, I got 3 of these bad boys. Where are they? There they are. Whoa, we're rich gamers. So I had one of these from ages ago when I was playing the deck. Got one that I picked up in a bundle. And then before the last unban wave, I got suckered into buying another one for like 20 quid. What a time to be alive. Let's check out Hound Blaze as well. That is a mean card, Hound Blaze. Where is it? There. Where's the ult? Oh, look at this. This looks so fire. This is still at 24. I'm surprised people haven't bought these out more, you know? This card's a straight 4 in Sakazuki. This card is insane. Bottom of 2 and give 3,000 power. That's nuts. Turns those brand news into like 6k swingers. All the time to be alive. Anyway, back here, did they say anything about it? They said it's determined it will not harm the diversity of leaders in the current environment. Well, I think for Japan they're right, but I think in the West, I don't know. This guy could be a bit of a menace. He's going to be able to deal with the anti-removal cards so much better than other decks can. For example, if you've got like a Kosho on the board, we can just Hound Blaze that for 2 Don, and then use whatever other removal he's got. Maybe a Brook on the board and playing a Hina to remove whatever the Kosho was affecting as well. I saw a good video from York's channel recently. I'll try and remember to put it in a card on your screen about now. And they were playing some Sakazuki, and the deck kind of looked still really good. Obviously, just not into Emu, because good luck. But yeah, I'm hyped for Saka, man. I'm really, really hyped for Saka. As soon as we get some movement on the sim, maybe we'll bring it back. Maybe we'll even do some IRL videos with Saka tomorrow. That could be pretty hype. Let me know if you'd like to see some Sakazuki content ASAP. And I really do hope that these bans do come into effect for us on the 30th. Because, well, what's the point otherwise? If we have to wait till OP13, we get to play through the boring Luffy format again. But we've been quite lucky in the past. We dodged the RP Law format. We dodged like another set of Saka format. Hopefully now we're dodging Stinky Yuppie Luffy format. And honestly, I'm really hyped for the people that really just like the deck. That they can still play it without it being like broken and annoying people. Because a lot of people really just don't like whatever the best deck is. And I'm not in that camp at all. You know, I generally tend to play meta. But it will be nice for them to not have that the stigma from certain people at locals. But either way, that's beside the point. What do you think? What do you think about these bans? I think, broadly speaking, this complex ban is a good idea. It's not one I thought they would do. I just completely ruled it out when I was predicting bans. And that's why I thought they would just hit a card and be on with it. Nothing being hit in GP is a little interesting. I'll be interested to see how well that deck does post-bans. Might struggle with Saka, honestly. It's already not got the best time in the world into Lucci. So we'll see how that goes. Nami getting banned, very unsurprising after that Utama reveal. Sad for all the Nami players, but, you know, I'm not going to cry too many tears, personally. Sorry. Saka unban. I'm here for it. I really don't think he's going to be tier 0. There's no way, surely. Surely, right. He can't be that good anymore. Looking forward to testing a lot of Saka in the coming days, though. And Kabaji, yeah. If you're banning Nami, unban Kabaji. It only makes sense. This card was only banned because of Nami. So, yep, let me know what you think. Are you happy with these? Are you unhappy with these? Do you think they will have a massive impact on our OP12 metas? What rogue leaders are you excited for coming back? For me, Kobe, Shanks, and Enel I think, are the 3 that jump to mind first. But I'm sure there's going to be other leaders that were just sort of locked out of the game by this guy. And if you've got any suggestions, let me know what you think they might be. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.